done in your mind, or else you'll be.
And everything revolves around it. Everything you plan your whole day around.
Yep.
Making sure that everything that the race car and everything with the race team is organized, sorted, ready to go, and it's getting done, and everything's in its own.
Yeah.
What even call it, its own thing to get done, and it's planned. Everything's about its organization, and then everything else is second to it. Like it just that's the main priority, and you do you do it without even thinking. That it's just
there's something amazing about sprint cars is that you're the main event at the speedway. You're the last race. You're the fastest and the noisiest thing there. Everyone comes to see sprint cars, but in the racing world, you don't have to be there all day. You don't have to, I raced road cars for a little while. You had to be there at 6:30 in the morning and you didn't leave till 5. It was just this whole day. And even if you did win, it didn't have the same sort of rock and roll kick. And that endorphin, because you're in a circular stadium. You're in this big oval stadium. We won. The trophy gets handed to you and it's this massive endorphin rush. So it's a really addictive. When can we do that again?
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what we're talking about.
Okay. When was your first win in a team?
The first win would have been when Phil Walters was driving my car, 1988.
What do you say, my car?
My dad's car.
Okay.
Sorry, not my car. My dad's
you
car.
were doing the setup?
Yeah, no, we worked in the shed. I wasn't even allowed to be in the pit area back then. I was 7 or 8 years old. I just say, my dad, I got to be my car. So my dad's car, the team that I was involved with, my dad's car's team. Yeah. My dad and Scott, I should say. 1987 or 1988. At Clinton County Fairgrounds in Pennsylvania. And it was just, and that was that year, he won. That was the first race that I said, I've been around it my whole life since I was little. Yeah. But I was 7 or 8 years old, and that's the first one that I can remember.
You were part of something.
Yeah, actually be a part, because I spent a lot of time in the shed, and that was because before I never really got to go. That was probably the first time that my dad actually, because I had to be by myself. When we went to the races, I wasn't old enough to be in the pit area.
Right.
So my dad went to the pit area. I had to look after myself at 7 or 8 years old. I went to the grandstands, knowing nobody with me on my own.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Well, and it was just one of the things, And
that's where it starts.
And it is. And I remember, and it was later on that year. And that year was a brilliant year. We won 10 out of 12 or 12 out of 14 races that year at that racetrack. Wow. It was really,
and
really.
Yes, you're alone on the hill. Okay, or in the stands there. When that car crossed the checkered flag, you were a part of that win.
Exactly.
And there were only 4 or 5 of you. You understand?
Yeah.
Not many people can understand that. That win in a sprint car, and how you're in this little group that are the kings on the night. Absolute kings. And that buzz just lasts for a week, a good week, and then it's back in the bang. Bang. Hey, we're going to be beaten. We better not be beaten.
Gotta go again. Yeah, that's right.
It's a crazy addiction.
And it was funny, because I got to go down on, I remember I got to, standing at the gate, obviously where the flagman stood. Pardon me, there was a gate where you walk through, that people walk through on the track. Well, that was it. I had to go, and they wouldn't let me in until my dad actually came to the gate and said, yeah, that's my son. Got to come through, and then be in the victory lane with him and all that, because it's just one of the things that you're a part of, and, and that's what, and even as a young age, people say, what can, you're that little, what can you do? Well, I got the utmost respect. There's a race car driver over in Pennsylvania. His name's Fred Raymer. His boys race now. Well, his boy, Freddie Raymer, he would have been 6 years old, and that kid was pulling the torsion bars, which is your suspension. You know what it is, but the people listening, there's just a torsion bar is just part of the suspension and the setup on a car. This kid was able to pull all the arms and stops, so he's able to pull that apart and work on it and grease it and clean it and put it back together. He obviously wasn't big enough to tighten everything up, but he was old enough that he could pull it. If it was loose, he could pull it apart, clean it, put it back together. The kid races, and just earlier this year he got his first win at Lincoln Speedway. Just really, really awesome, And it's just, and it is and it's one of the things that it gets in your blood system, and for me, I couldn't get rid of it. I tried to quit twice, and I couldn't do it. You're just miserable. You couldn't. There's nothing for me. There's nothing in my life that is just that that adrenaline rush, just that's something, and like I said before, I'm very, very fortunate that I've got a wonderful fiance partner that lets me go away and racing, and if I don't talk to her for a week, she doesn't get upset, she doesn't get jealous, she fully understands and accepts it. And if it wasn't for that, we couldn't be together, and that's, I see that over home. Like there's the people growing up that I got to be around with, and like the Ricky Warners and the Scott Gherkins and the Jimmy Carrs and all these people that are big names over home that got to go racing. Their wives were the same. Like they didn't, like you said, no cell phones. So I mean, and these guys did it years before I ever went on the road.
Imagine.
So and a lot of these guys, like they stayed in the back seat of the pickups, and before they had the trucks and the nice transporters and everything. So they would go somewhere where they might not be able to talk to their wife for weeks on end, but they went and did it, and they managed.
And meanwhile, they all had kids.
Exactly right. They still managed to raise their families.
Funnily enough, all their kids became interested in speedway.
Yeah, exactly right.
Just like you, but you maybe hold a bit of a grudge. Oh, you went home that, blah, 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 blah.
And at one stage I did.
But then you fell into speedway.
And then at one stage I did. I was furious with my dad. You never were around for me. And he just, like what Dad said, did you ever need anything? Like one night I got on the piece and I had a bit of a dummy spit with my dad, and and I was a bit upset with him, and until he kind of, and he was never mean about it, and it actually made me feel worse for actually what I had to say to him. Like, all I said to him was like, you were never around when I was growing up. You're always either working or racing. We did our thing away racing, but like I drove go-karts for a while, and he came to watch me race once. It was like the best I ever went because he actually helped me work on the car. He actually came and helped work on the car. The best I ever went at that track, but it was the only time my whole life he ever watched, whole life. Like, I think I raced go-karts for 3 years. But he was always busy doing his own thing. So he came watch me race once. But anyhow, we had I had a bit of an argument with him.
I could feel how that would.
Yeah, and I played soccer. I had a full ride scholarship to uni to play soccer.
Yep.
He came and watched me play once.
Yep.
And criticized what I did. And I was pretty good at it. And criticized me. So everything, even when he did it, was always, that wasn't good enough. You didn't do this right. Yeah. He never played soccer a day in his life. And I'm thinking, well, how can you sit there and criticize me when you've never done it? But anyhow, I'm getting sidetracked here. But
to cut you, I'll be honest. Like now that I've got 2 kids under 5, I'm 40s in my 42 in my 40s. I'm starting to feel that guy. I'm starting to go. I've got so much world away from home right now. I feel like it's just starting, and that like a switch that I've never felt before is like, no, I need to spend some real time. Not that I want to at all, but I'm starting to understand that now. Like my own father was the same, so I'm really starting to face it. We came from like a couple thousands of years of just, who knows what was going on in those 100 years before. So, what am I talking about? But seriously, but you think you can now appreciate your dad's addiction to racing and the jobs that need to be done to get to the race.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
we need to win. I want to feel that feeling again. It's like, whoa, that win. We had a win. It was been 4 weeks now. We need another one of those.
Yeah,
things.
and it is. And it's when you get one's never enough. You think that first win that you're ever a part of is always like, just want that one win. Just want that one win.
Yep.
You get that one, and you think, yeah, right now I want another one. Like it is instantaneously. Like I can remember when I was working on Darren's car, Darren Pittman's car. We were at Kansas City. That was the first outlaw race that I was a part of winning. A buddy of mine was working on the car, Sean Biggin was his name, Sean Young. He always went by Biggin. It was him and I. We were the crew guys. Darren was the driver, and we got that first race, first World of Outlaws feature.
Wow.
That was, to me, that was like just so much, because that's the elite of the elite. You want to win one.
Yep.
And I can remember going out to Victory Lane in the meal and thinking, man, that was absolutely awesome. Instantaneously, I want another one. It was that good. Like it was, man, that was awesome. You got to have another one.
Yeah.
And that's the drive. Like if you don't have that drive, especially for racing, and I know, and I equate it to everything in life. You have to have that passion. Doesn't matter. For me, it's racing. That's, to me, my ultimate passion is racing. Yeah. To somebody else, it's their kids. It's something. It's making money. If you don't have that, to me, if you don't have that passion in life, you're just treading water. You're just.
Yep. No goal.
There has to be something in your life that to you is the ultimate. There's something that you strive.
Yeah.
To me, like, what's the point of living if not? Like, what you're here, like, you find something. If you don't have one, you go find it. There has to be that something that will actually put a bit of life in you and give you a bit of energy. And every day you'll think, yeah, right, I'm getting up to go do that. I'm getting up because that's what I want to do. I love to do it.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't race, I'd be the most miserable person in the world. because I couldn't imagine my life without being involved with racing.
You made me think about how exciting it is when you're in a team. When new parts comes about,
like a kid at Christmas.
Yeah, so I'm bringing it back to the endless hunt to. Okay, you've won, and then oh my god! All of a sudden, someone else has some new part on the car. Like I remember when large front wings came about, like the sideboards on the front wings came about. It was like, whoa, you need that, and it worked, and it's still there.
Yeah.
But every other month, every second month, someone's got something new. This addiction just keeps building because there's new parts coming in. There's new things. Someone's using a new engine builder now. Yeah. And it's all sort of like, whoa, what are they using? What's going on? Who are these new kids?
And sprint cars are funny because it's monkey see, monkey do. Like, if someone goes and wins, well, we got to have that. They just run with that. We got to have that. You know, and everything makes a big circle. With it. Like, the sprint cars really haven't changed a whole lot. There's little bits and pieces of stuff here have changed, but there's always something new, something little that's just tweaked on it just a little bit here, a little bit there. Like, it still kind of looks all the same. Yeah. But it just gets tweaked and gets fine-tuned a little bit, and it is. I know exactly what you mean. Like, you'll go along and you'll be kind of treading water. You know, you're the fifth place car, sixth place car. You're just kind of there. Next thing, guy goes out and he's right around there with you. He goes and wins. And you think, wow, well, he's changed that. Yeah. We got to have one of them. Obviously, he's running around the same place as us, same speed as us. He just won one. We got to have one of them, and it is. It's just monkey see, monkey do. Yep, right. Got to put that on there.
Well, and especially in the 90s. You know, like that. The early 2000s. Yeah. Hey, when you were doing it without Facebook, we were talking about that. When, that was kind of before anyone. It was still very basic. Well, it wasn't back then, but you know what I'm saying. So
and it's funny, like we were talking about. I came here to Australia and all that, and it's something that I always wanted to do. And it was funny because I never talked to my dad about this. It was something I always wanted to go to Australia. I don't really know.
Sharman?
No,
Dave Sharman?
Yeah, it could be. It very well could be. That's what you're saying. Dave Sharman. First job I took racing on the road with the World of Outlaws. I went and worked for Mike Cool, was the crew chief. Paul McMahon was the driver. Mike Cool was the crew chief. He was from Hanover, Pennsylvania, which is like about an hour and a half south of where I grew up. Went to go on the road, took the job on the road working for him when we went to Rolling Wheels, New York. And the other crew guy, the only other crew guy that was on there, which he couldn't drive the truck at the time. Well, he couldn't drive the truck because he didn't have an American driver's license to drive the semi, was Dave Sharman, which we were just laughing earlier. He lives 15 minutes down the road from me in Greenbank, Queensland, Australia. Same suburb as where I live. First job we go take on the road racing with Outlaws, how small the world, like we're talking about the population and everything and what it is and how big the world is, but yet really how small it is, And that is, it maybe that is.
Did you ever go to his house in Tasmania?
No.
He had a bar there. I went back there once.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, everyone would always go to Sharman's.
They still do up here. Dave is always Sharman.
Now I know this through you. It adds more weight.
Yeah,
I didn't really know.
Yeah, he's always good for a party. Right. He loves it. Right. And he comes around here, and it's funny because Michelle puts up with a lot of him being away racing and partying, and it's funny because we don't need much convincing to have a beer together. We like to have a good time, and we both blame it on each other. He blames it on. He tells Michelle it's my fault he had to have a beer, and I tell Tracy it's his fault. So it's funny. Like and it's one of the things that he's a really good friend. But how small the world is that first job you go take on the road and wind up working with somebody that is in Australia and think, oh, that's something I've always wanted to do. I don't know if it was just meeting him that I wanted to come here, and it's funny because it was something that I really wanted to do. Like one of the things I wanted to take off my list was I want to go to Australia. I now live here. And about 3 or 4 years ago, my dad said when he was a teenager, one of the biggest things he wanted to do was come to Australia. And that's like, well, we got tied up through. He just wanted to come. He didn't care if it was through racing. And I didn't either. Right. I just wanted to come to Australia.
But I'll half bet that it would be due to someone from Speedway coming out here. I was thinking that before when you said you start your season in February. Okay, so for the longest time since the 60s, Americans have been coming out here to race in your winter.
Yeah.
So no doubt your dad thought Australia, wow.
Yeah, very well could have been.
And they race, So the seed would have been planted, and next minute you're
Yeah,
racing with Dave Sharman.
Yeah, and then you're here in Australia. It's like, wow, you know, like
What's it like working for a team, travelling, and you hate it?